So a couple days ago, I made a video talking about Chud the Builder and just mostly the controversy around him, who he is as a person, and just why there's just been a good amount of spotlight on him. And that was literally like 2-3 days ago. And within that video, y'all may remember, I even said that I would not be surprised if anything happens to him. Like, besides him being pegged, I would not be surprised if anything happens to him. If he were to get attacked, if he were to be shot at, if he were to, whatever the case is, I would not be surprised by it. And not even 2 days later, he gets attacked. Now, story confirms is that, or alleges from some eyewitnesses, is that this man had come into confrontation with another person outside the courthouse here, and not here, but outside a courthouse in Clarksville, Tennessee. And Earthly, or Chud the Builder, had got into a confrontation with the other guy. Stuff happened from eyewitness accounts, and apparently shots went off, and he apparently shot the person and also grazed himself, which led him to being arrested, and he's currently being charged with aggravated assault, attempted murder, reckless endangerment with a weapon, employing a firearm during a felony. And so, yeah, I don't think any of us were surprised. I mean, I made a video saying, like, I would not be surprised if anything were to happen to him. I mean, going around enticing people for the sake of free speech, First Amendment, being pro First Amendment, is not exactly going to get you where you think it will be. And I've gotten a couple of comments, and I've seen some of the rhetoric where it's like, oh, we're on a slippery slope. He got attacked for words. First Amendment, it might just disappear tomorrow. And it's pathetic. It really is. I'm in the middle where I agree. We have free speech and a First Amendment for a reason, and we shouldn't just be attacked for voicing it. But there becomes a line where you're drawing from using free speech with a certain intent, and then also the intent to pretty much rage bait and antagonize, entice people, and to rile them up. I mean, seriously, there's no other thing that this man's known for besides using racial slurs against people to entice them. I mean, you're gonna tell someone to not chimp out after you kind of just were being slick, mouthing off or whatever. Like, there's always going to be consequences to actions. Like I said in the last video, there's consequences to everything. I mean, you can't expect nothing to happen from doing something. Drinking water will have a consequence. My body will now be replenished and moisturized. That is a consequence of drinking water. And some people think consequence just means a bad reaction to something. No, a consequence is just literally the effect that takes place when one does an action. What's the consequence of me playing Resident Evil Requiem? Because I have the screenshot up. It's me being fucking happy and enjoying it. That's the consequence of it. So there's going to be consequences to everything. You call someone a racial slur, there will be a consequence to that. And sooner or later, when that is your identity as an online influencer and you're going around saying this, what are you expecting? What do you expect? And he not only is getting attacked, and presumably it was probably a black person, he's getting shitted on by white people as well. I'm not trying to be like, oh, only certain races can do it, but it's funny how everyone does not really like this guy. The only inclination of hope that he has, that he's trying to grift on, is being pro for First Amendment and free speech, which, again, I think a lot of us really do care about that. Of course, sometimes when it affects us, it's all of a sudden hits different, but we're not losing that. We're not really losing that. I don't see how we are. I mean, I can go and say whatever I want without the worry of having to be jailed or prosecuted for it. If that's what he means, sure. I mean, or if that's what should be the intent or the purpose of saying, being pro free speech, is that I shouldn't be prosecuted for whatever I say. I agree. I mean, the only thing you can't really say is that I want to off the president. Like, you can't say stuff like that, because that can be used, and obviously you can be charged with that. Stuff like that is serious, especially in our day and age. So, like, besides that, example, I understand, like, there should not be any prosecution. I should not be getting in trouble for things that I say. But at the same time, you're talking about legally, the legality behind it. Now, what the people do, which is also called a public opinion, or the public court, or whatever it's called, the public opinion, it will sometimes vary different from what the judge rules it, or how the court presumably will see it, or whatever the case is. court's vision is sometimes different from the public's vision. And so a public opinion will still have an effect and a consequence, even if legally it doesn't. So yes, I agree. We should not be prosecuted for having insane words. That's the dumbest fucking thing to me. But you also can't be surprised when you be consequenced from saying certain things, especially racial slurs. There's a lot of emotional, I don't even know how to say it. There's just a lot of history behind that word, which, again, it's sure free speech, whatever, but that doesn't stop people from having an opinion about it or saying something about it or even doing something about it. Even if it's not legally the best, even if they do something illegal by assaulting you or whatever, that doesn't stop them from having a reaction and doing something about that reaction. That's what's called a public's eye and a public's opinion. Sometimes courts and judges sometimes don't always give the right prosecution or, sentence the person the right way. There's a person named Penguin Zero out there, or Penguin Zero, and he sometimes elaborated on some of the court cases where judges just release people who are just absolutely unburdened by, any type of accountability, and they go around just unapologetically just being arrogant, and these judges just let them off. Like a sort of white guilt, because there's I'd have to look up the story again, but a person didn't want to charge the person who had either done something illegal towards them or did something illegal, and they didn't want to press any charges because they literally said, I don't want to put another black man in jail. So it's the public side and public opinion is going to vary versus the court. So the whole point being is that, yeah, sure, we may not be charged for saying things, and that's, I agree with that. That doesn't mean that the public eye and the mass won't have a reaction to that. And so sometimes it's justified, sometimes it isn't. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's justified, because I don't think assaulting anyone just because they something is absolute right. But at the same time, I'm not surprised, and I see no evil, man. That's like I'm like, oh man, that sucks for that guy over there who's getting pounded in. But it's like I don't understand what, are we surprised? Like, what was he expecting, going around saying racial slurs to people, predominantly black people, and telling them not to chimp out and to fucking pepper spray them when they get close to him? There's so many better people. And I remember when Andrew Tate was one of those people that just got super popular, that was kind of like a devil's advocate, where he's like an anti-hero, where it's like Deadpool, where it's he did some stupid shit, but at least what he stood for had some dignity behind it, and I can respect it. This guy isn't even standing on anything besides just racial slurs. He's just okay, free speech, sure, okay, but how does that help free speech, and how does that help you, and how does that help anything? You're just antagonizing people. It's like the equivalent of those auditors that go to police stations and sit outside just recording them. They're not technically doing nothing wrong, but damn well they're just there to entice and antagonize a cop to hopefully get a paycheck. It's not productive. I even have maybe more respect for auditors, because sometimes they out these corrupt cops who just kind of just hung on emotion and kind of overplay their cards. Sometimes it works, and I understand for the point of auditors, but it's still, most of it is just unproductive, and it's just antagonizing people. It's not doing anything besides just telling people, hey, I'm a huge asshole. And so, again, with the Chud the Builder dude, I, again, hope and pray that he changes his outlook on how he presumes testing for free speech. It can be handled and executed, again, like I said in the other video, it could be handled way better in a different way than how he's handling it. But yeah, this happened today, or if not, I think it was yesterday. What is it? Today's the 13th. Yeah, happened yesterday. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit, because it was funny, because I just released that video on Chud the Builder, and when those allegations popped up with that one chick claiming that allegedly she was pegging him. They all pegged each other with her anal massages, but it's just the timing is funny, and I thought I had to make a video and rant about it. So yeah, that's about it. See y'all.